Good evening and welcome to the news at 6. I'm Tracy Shilchi and here are the headlines. Congress presses for consideration of motion on the conduct of governors of Manipur and Goa in Rajya Sabha. Deputy Chairman assures that the decision will be taken after examining rules. The BJP wins the floor test in Manipur. Economic blockade is lifted in the state. Arrested United Naga Council leaders to be released unconditionally. US President Donald Trump warns North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, says he is acting very, very badly after Pyongyang tests a new type of high-thrust rocket engine. And the third cricket test with Australia ends in a draw. Shaun Marsh and Peter Handscomb frustrate the Indian bowlers on the final day of the match. Top story this evening, the opposition Congress on Monday insisted on expeditiously taking up its substantive motion on the conduct of the governors of Goa and Manipur in the upper house. While the chair asserted that established procedure would be followed, the government urged the Congress to respect the people's mandate.
Raising the issue during zero hour, Congress's Digvijay Singh pressed for the prompt consideration of his substantive motion under Rule 168 on the conduct of governors of Manipur and Goa. Singh alleged that governors' conduct has gone against the established practice and constitutional propriety.
The motion of against the Goa governor, a substantive motion under Rule 168, I would like to know and request that when this motion will be taken up, because I have not been informed as yet and it's not been listed in the business for today. As you had mentioned that day, it will be considered and you will discuss it on Monday.
I'll reply to you.
Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad and JDU leader Sharad Yadav also supported the early consideration of the motion.
ये विषय यहाँ जीरो आवर में इस पर उठाया था, ये मुद्दा हम लोगों ने और विपक्ष ने मुद्दा उठाया था और आपने फ्राइडे को ये बताया था ऑनरेबल मेंबर दिग्विजय सिंह जी को कि आपका जो मोशन है, इस मोशन में गवर्नर का कंडक्ट डिस्कस किया नहीं जा सकता और आपने बताया कि उसके लिए सब्सटेंटिव मोशन देना चाहिए और हमने सभी विपक्ष ने कहा था कि हम मंडे को सब्सटेंटिव मोशन देंगे। अब इन्होंने सब्सटेंटिव मोशन दिया है और आज वो डिस्कस होना चाहिए।
शुक्रवार को ये बात हुई थी कि आज जो है वो रेजोल्यूशन जो उनका है दिग्विजय सिंह का आज आएगा और मैं मानता हूं कि इस वक्त गुजरने से बात तो वक्त पर ही होती है। मेरी आपसे विनती है कि आज के लिए इंप्रेशन था कि इनका रेजोल्यूशन आज मान लिया जाए।
The deputy chairman assured the House that the decision will be taken after examining the rules and procedures. The government also welcomed the chair's observation.
Honorable LOP, you are a seasoned and senior member, lot of experience in the parliament, both in the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. You know, if a motion is given to the honorable chairman or to the office secretariat for that matter, there is a procedure to be followed up. And that procedure will be followed up and decision will be communicated to you.
आज चर्चा करने की कोई बात नहीं थी। जो शरद जी कह रहे हैं उस वक्त जो है वो माननीय दिग्विजय सिंह जी ने इस मुद्दे को उठाया था। हम लोगों ने कहा कि आप उस पर नोटिस दीजिए, नोटिस देने के बाद चेयर तय करेगी कि वो किस सब्स्टेंटिव मोशन में चर्चा होगी या किसी और नियमों के तहत होगी, उस पर हम लोग तय करेंगे। तो इसलिए मुझे क्या लगता है कि इस इशू को चेयर पर छोड़ना चाहिए क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि जनादेश का सम्मान शालीनता से होना चाहिए।
In the Goa election, the BJP bagged 13 seats while the Congress emerged as the largest party with 17 seats. In the Manipur elections as well, the Congress emerged as the largest party winning 28 seats while the BJP had 21 seats. The BJP, however, managed to cobble up the majority numbers in both states to win the floor test. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And the opposition members raised the issue of loan waiver to farmers in the upper house as well. The Congress alleged that the non-fulfillment of the promise by the NDA government to waive off farmer loans has led to numerous farmer suicides in the country.
Raising the issue during Zero Hour, Pramod Tiwari of the Congress claimed that farmers were getting an exceptionally low price for their produce due to the cash crunch after demonetization. Tiwari also alleged that 117 farmers committed suicide in Maharashtra and only 46 had been given compensation, while cases 58 others are under consideration.
ये मौतें इसलिए हुई हैं कि उत्पादन हुआ किसान का और उसको सही मूल्य नहीं मिला है टमाटर का। इसके अलावा वहां पर जो नोटबंदी का असर था थोक व्यापारियों ने नहीं दिया है और ज्यादा उत्पादन होने के बावजूद भी नहीं मिला है। सबसे बड़ी चिंता की बात यह है कि किसानों के कर्ज माफ को जो वायदा इस सरकार का था अगर कर दिया गया होता तो ये 114 मौतें सिर्फ एक राज्य में नहीं होती।
Raising another issue, AIADMK's V. Maitryan urged the government to oppose the UNHRC resolution on Lankan Tamils.
That USA, UK and other countries have sponsored a resolution in the UNHRC deciding to give 2 more years until 2019 for Lanka to submit its report.
In another Zero Hour mention, Vikas Mahatme of the BJP demanded stringent laws to prevent assaults on medical professionals, including doctors, by relatives of patients.
We have to create an environment, and that can be created by stringent laws should be there, and then non-bailable offense should be against those who beat the doctors, physically assault the doctors.
Meanwhile, Pratap Singh Bajmo of the Congress voiced concern over terrorism hit border villages of Punjab, and Vivek Gupta of the TMC raised the issue of dwindling allowances of the cab drivers.
In fact,
Rajya Sabha TV.
Trinamool Congress's Manish Gupta took oath on Monday as the member of the Rajya Sabha. The House also mourned the death of former member Pyari Mohan Mohapatra. Here are the details.
As soon as the House met for the day, Trinamool Congress's Manish Gupta took oath as the member of the upper house. Gupta's term as a member would continue till April 2020. He was elected to the Rajya Sabha to fill up the vacancy created after the resignation of actor turned politician Mithun Chakraborty. Mithun was elected to the Rajya Sabha in April 2014 and had resigned from the upper house on December 26 last year, citing health reasons.
মনীষ গুপ্ত রাজ্যসভার সদস্য নির্বাচিত হইয়া ঈশ্বরের নামে শপথ করিতেছি যে বিধি দ্বারা স্থাপিত ভারতের সংবিধানের প্রতি আমি অকৃত্রিম নিষ্ঠা ও আনুগত্য পোষণ করিব। আমি ভারতের সার্বভৌমত্ব ও অখণ্ডতা রক্ষা করিব এবং যে কর্তব্য ভার আমি গ্রহণ করিতে উদ্যত হইয়াছি তাহা নিষ্ঠাপূর্বক নির্বাহ করিব।
The upper house also lamented the demise of former member Pyari Mohan Mohapatra. He passed away after a prolonged illness at the age of 77 years on Sunday. He represented the state of Odisha.
In the passing away of Shri Pyari Mohan Mohapatra, the country has lost a noted civil servant, a distinguished parliamentarian and a dedicated social worker.
Members observed silence as the mark of respect to the memory of the departed soul. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On to politics now, and it's yet another win for the BJP. After Goa, the BJP-led government in Manipur has won the floor test in the State Assembly, gobbling up the support of 33 MLAs in the 60-member House.
The BJP-led government won the floor test in Manipur Assembly, getting 33 votes in the 60-member Assembly. The lone TMC MLA also supported the Biren Singh government.
I really congratulate my teams, the honorable MLAs, including the opposition's MLAs. And this is a success of the Modi ji. It's not the BJP. Just whatever he has given the inspiration to the people of the state, and mainly the national leaders really who staying here and working day and night.
With 21 MLAs in the 60-member House, the BJP is supported by 4 MLAs of the Naga People's Front, 4 of the National People's Party, 1 MLA of the Lok Janshakti Party, an independent MLA Asab Uddin, and a Congress legislator who was inducted in the Council of Ministers. The lone Trinamool Congress MLA T. Robindra Singh also extended support to the BJP-led government, allegedly without consulting his party.
The government of India is committed to extending full support
to all the development projects in the state. So our government will now embark on major mission of developing both the hill areas and the valley. There will be judicious allocation of funds to all the areas.
Earlier, the BJP elected Yumnam Khemchand Singh as the new Speaker of the House by a voice vote. Biren Singh, a former footballer and congressman who joined the BJP in October 2016, took oath as the Chief Minister on March 15th along with 8 ministers of his new cabinet after the BJP won 21 seats in the assembly elections. The Congress emerged as the single largest party but lost out on government formation and alleged that the BJP was stealing power.
ये स्पष्ट हो गया है कि किस तरीके का उन्होंने उसमें मेथड इस्तेमाल किया है, क्योंकि देखिए जिस तरह से मिनिस्ट्री दी गई है, ज्यादातर लोग जो बाद में उनको समर्थन किया है उनको दिया है, तो ये क्लियरली मैं कहूंगी कि हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग हुआ है, चाहे पैसे का हुआ हो या चाहे मैं कहूंगी पावर का हुआ हो।
ये उनकी मजबूरी है कि उनके पास ऐसे लीडरशिप नहीं है कि जो फौरन डिसीजन ले सके और प्रदेश के हित में काम कर सके। यहाँ पर एक ग्रुप था, हमारा ग्रुप फॉर्म हुआ जो कि प्रदेश के हित में काम करना चाहते थे और वो ग्रुप हमारी मेजॉरिटी में थी और हमने अब वहाँ पर प्रूव भी कर दिया जो भी हमें करना था फ्लोर ऑफ टेस्ट में कि हमें मेजॉरिटी है।
With the government proving majority in the House, a 3-day budget session of the Assembly will begin on Tuesday with the address of the Governor. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in what's being seen as the first big success of the new BJP government in Manipur, the nearly 5-month-old economic blockade in the state was lifted last night. The highways were blocked by Naga groups protesting against the formation of 7 new districts in the state. Here are the details.
The blockade on the 2 national highways connecting landlocked Manipur was lifted on Sunday night after talks between the centre, the state government and the Naga groups. A joint statement after the meeting said arrested UNC leaders will be unconditionally released and all cases related to the economic blockade against the Naga tribe leaders and student leaders will be closed. The next round of talks will be held within a month.
No, actually I am very lucky and our government is very lucky that United Naga Council have listened our request and on humanity ground they left it, and I really appreciate their attitude shown to us, and we will definitely reciprocate what they have done to us, to the people of Manipur. And our priority as the Modi ji seat will be to give the proper governance to the state.
Government of Manipur accommodate our sentiment, our opinion, and also the government of India also accommodate the sentiment of the Naga people, for which we have agreed upon into.
The United Naga Council blocked highways NH2 and NH37 since last November in protest against the formation of 7 new districts by the former Ibobi Singh government. The blockade led to a steep rise in essential commodities, including vegetables and fuel. Curfew was imposed and internet services snapped after violent protests were carried out by Naga outfits in capital Imphal. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Bahujan Samaj Party will move court in the next 2 to 3 days against the alleged tampering of EVMs during the Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections. BSP Chief Mayawati on Monday also said that the BJP won the elections by rigging electronic voting machines.
अभी तो वो इधर उधर की बातें कर रहे हैं, ना वो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर देख पाएंगे। अब ये जो करते थे कि भयमुक्त वातावरण, अब ये भययुक्त वातावरण पैदा होगा। और वैसे भी जनता को ये मालूम है, उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता को, कि वोटिंग मशीन में बड़े पैमाने पर गड़बड़ी की गई है, धांधली की गई है और ये धांधले वाले लोगों की सरकार है और जनता इनके ऊपर बिल्कुल फेद नहीं कर रही है और इनके इस धांधली के खिलाफ हमारी पार्टी ने ये डिसीजन लिया। हम लोग जल्दी ही 2-3 दिन के अंदर हम कोर्ट में जाने वाले, इनको चैन से बैठने नहीं देंगे।
Well, the Election Commission has already rejected Mayawati's claims that the voting machines were rigged, also saying that her demand for a repoll using ballot papers was legally untenable. The BSP managed to win just 19 seats in the 403-member House, down from 80 that it won in the 2012 polls. The BJP, with its allies in tow, swept the polls in Uttar Pradesh after 14 years, securing 325 seats, while the Samajwadi Party won 47 and its ally, the Congress, just 7 seats. The Supreme Court Collegium has cleared the memorandum of procedure for appointment of judges to the higher judiciary. Disclosing this, the Chief Justice of India, J.S. Khehar, said that the vacancies of judges in high courts will be filed soon. It will be in fact filled soon. The CJI is heading a 3-judge bench that is hearing a PIL on judicial vacancies. Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi said that the collegium had sent the MOP to the centre on the 14th of March and the centre is studying it. This comes after 15 months of tussle between the NDA government and the Supreme Court's collegium over some issues regarding the MOP, including the rejection of appointments of grounds of national security. In October 2015, a constitution bench headed by Justice J.S. Khehar had struck down the NJAC Act passed by the Parliament and directed the centre to frame a new MOP in consultation with the Chief Justice of India. In other news, the two Sufi clerics who went missing in Pakistan last week returned home to Delhi on Monday. The clerics Syed Asif Ali Nizami and his nephew Nazim Ali Nizami from New Delhi's Hazrat Nizamuddin Shrine thanked the governments of India and Pakistan for their safe return, but remained tight-lipped on what led to their disappearance. They also met Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj. They had gone to Pakistan on the 8th of March to visit the Data Darbar Sufi Shrine in Lahore. They were reported missing since the 16th of March after landing at Karachi airport. Nazim Ali, one of the clerics, rubbished the reports by Pakistani media that the clerics worked for India's intelligence agency Research and Analysis Wing. When asked as to why they were interrogated, Nazim said that they were asked about their visa and other immigration details.
हमारे बारे में कह दिया गया कि अंदरून सिंध ये गए थे, यहाँ मोबाइल वगैरह नहीं चलता था। हम सच्चाई का पैगाम देने वाले हैं, गैर कानूनी काम करने वाले नहीं हैं। तो जब हमारे पास अंदरून सिंध का वीज़ा ही नहीं है तो हम वहाँ क्यों जाते हैं? मैं पूरे हुकूमत हिंदुस्तान का शुक्रगुजार हूँ, खुसूसन मैडम सुषमा स्वराज के तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हैं।
The 113th meeting of the Permanent Indus Commission between India and Pakistan began in Islamabad today after a gap of nearly 2 years. The 10-member Indian delegation is being led by the Indus Water Commissioner P.K. Saxena, while the Pakistani side is being headed by Mirza Asif. Discussions on the disputed Indian hydro projects built on the rivers flowing to Pakistan is likely to take place. These projects include the 1000-megawatt Pakal Dal on River Chenab, the 120-megawatt Miar and the 43-megawatt Lower Kalnai hydro projects. The Indus Water Commission was set up following the Indus Waters Treaty signed by the two countries in 1960. A meeting planned in September last year was cancelled due to the Uri terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir by Pakistan-based outfits. And here are more updates from across the country in Nationwide. No relief to Upar Theatre owner Gopal Ansal as the Supreme Court asked him to surrender to undergo a 1-year sentence. Earlier, the top court had dismissed Gopal Ansal's plea for modification of its February 9th order. Gopal Ansal has now appealed to the President for relief. At least 59 people had died of asphyxia and over 100 injured in the stampede that broke out after a fire in the theatre on the 13th of June 1997. The NIA has issued a second notice to controversial Islamic preacher Zakir Naik, asking him to appear at its headquarters on the 30th of March in a case filed against him under UAPA. The agency had earlier this month issued the first summons to him, asking him to appear on the 14th of March, but Naik did not respond. Naik has been booked for promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion. Meanwhile, the ED has attached assets worth 18.37 crore rupees of the Islamic Research Foundation and others under PMLA. On Monday, the stocks were in exhale mode as the Sensex closed at 29,518, falling over 130 points. Nifty ended at 9,126, down 33 points. Axis Bank was the top loser, shedding over 2%, followed by Infosys, ICICI Bank and TCS. Shares of IT companies plunged on reports that IT company Cognizant may reduce at least 10,000 jobs. Most Asian stocks, though, ended higher, while European shares were trading in the negative zone. The national capital remained on alert through Monday, despite the Jat agitation being called off on Sunday. In a bid to avert any untoward incidents, Delhi-UP borders were sealed and there's heavy police deployment at 3 entry points to Delhi from Noida. On Sunday, the Jat community decided to postpone their Delhi Gherao plans following several rounds of talks between the government and prominent Jat leaders. Idea Cellular Board has approved its merger with Vodafone India Limited. The move will create the country's biggest telecom services provider with the customer base of over 394 million. Idea will have the sole right to appoint the chairman. With the merger, the companies in fact hope to take on Reliance Jio and leader Bharti Airtel. All right, news from across the world. In what's being called an alleged hate crime, a Christian priest from Kerala was stabbed by a 72-year-old man in Melbourne on Sunday. 48-year-old Father Tommy Matthew Kalathur was stabbed in the neck at the St. Matthew's parish. A man armed with a knife stabbed the Catholic priest moments before Father Tommy was scheduled to lead the Italian language mass. The priest escaped with minor upper body injuries and has been released from hospital. The assailant has been released on bail and charged with intentionally and recklessly causing injury.
There was a large number of witnesses, but we are appealing for anyone else that may have seen the incident or that may have cited this male offender.
North Korea successfully tested a powerful new rocket engine on Sunday, a move apparently timed to coincide with a trip to Asia by the new U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. While U.S. President Donald Trump called it a very bad act, South Korea said that the test showed meaningful progress in the North's missile capabilities. Here are more details.
US President Donald Trump has said that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was acting very badly just hours after Pyongyang conducted a ground test of a new type of high-thrust rocket engine.
At meetings on North Korea, he's acting very badly. I will tell you, he's acting very badly.
North Korea conducted the ground test at the Sohail launch site on Saturday. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called the test a great event of historic significance for the country's indigenous rocket industry. The Trump administration has recently ramped up its rhetoric on North Korea, which it alleges has been carrying out the tests in violation of the UN Security Council resolution. Meanwhile, North Korea's only ally in the region, China, has said that any chance for dialogue on the situation must be seized.
对话只要还有可能就应当抓住，和平只要还有机会就不应放弃。
South Korea, on the other hand, said that North Korea's latest rocket engine test showed meaningful advancement in engine function. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here are more international news updates in Global Buzz. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has ordered the reopening of the Pak Afghan-Torkham border with immediate effect. The Prime Minister said that the decision was taken as a goodwill gesture as the countries enjoy religious, cultural and historical ties. Pakistan had sealed the border for an indefinite period in the aftermath of the bombing at the Lal Shahbaz Qalandar Shrine in Sindh province last month, in which 72 people were killed. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in China on a 3-day visit. He is accompanied by 5 ministers and the largest ever Israeli business delegation to visit China. He is slated to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Keqiang and leading Chinese business figures during his second China trip. Israel and China are expected to sign economic agreements during the visit. 2 U.S. intelligence chiefs are set to testify before the U.S. Congress about possible links between Russia and President Donald Trump's election campaign. FBI Director James Comey and NSA Chief Admiral Mike Rogers will give evidence at a rare open hearing of the Congressional Intelligence Committee. They will also address Trump's unsubstantiated claim that he was wiretapped by predecessor Barack Obama. And finally, cricket news. An 124-run fifth-wicket partnership between Shaun Marsh and Peter Hanscom ensured that the third test between India and Australia ended in a draw. The hosts failed to profit from the advantage that they had built up in the initial stages of the Australian innings, as the Indian bowlers could not run through the Aussie middle order. Australia were 204 for 6 when the match was called off, with Hanscom on 72 not out. Marsh scored 53. In the morning session, India ran through the Australian lineup, especially after skipper Steve Smith was dismissed by Ravindra Jadeja. Chasing a 152-run deficit in the first innings, Australia were at one time struggling at 63 for 4. Jadeja was the most effective Indian bowler with 4 wickets to his credit, adding to the 5 that he had taken in the first innings. With the series level at 1-1, the Dharamshala test now becomes a virtual final. India would have to win there to snatch back the Border Gavaskar trophy, while all that Australia needs is a draw, since they are still the holders.
Which can be made shorter.
That's all we have for you on the News at 6. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.